You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Folks, it's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There, listening to That Makes Official. Welcome to 16 years, going on 17 and 2,500 episodes of Chris Voss. We bring you just an amazing amalgamation of, is that the right word? I don't know. I flunked second grade. Amalgamation of smart, brilliant people who come to share their stories on our show. Wonderful authors, wonderful CEOs, billionaires, White House presidential advisors, you name it. We've had them all on the show, and more will come. We guarantee there's going to be a show tomorrow. Several, actually. Anyway, we have an amazing young man on the show, but before we get into it with him, we need to have you refer the show to family, to your friends, neighbors, and relatives, and all those people on the place you can find us. Go to facebook.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss, one of the TikTok, and all those crazy places. And today we have an amazing young man on the show with his debut novel. So these are always exciting. The birth of a new author and who should excel in his genre and bring us some interesting characters, especially in terms of political thrillers, murder thrillers, and police books. He's the author of the latest book that has just come out, What Goes Around, out October 7th, 2025. Michael Wendroff joins us in the show. We're going to get into it with him, find out what this exciting new novel is about and how it's going to blow up and sell 10 million copies by tomorrow. There you go. Michael Wendroff has an MBA in marketing from NYU and was inducted into their Hall of Fame. His MBA thesis was on marketing in the publishing industry. Boy, he lined that up perfectly. And it was excerpted in the Industry Trade Journal Publishers Weekly. So he actually got paid to write his thesis. There you go. What a deal. Note to college students. While interviewing publishing executives for the thesis, he met Truman Capote. Boy, we've got a bunch of authors on the show who talked about Truman. He has spent many years since as a global marketing consultant. It was the COVID pandemic that finally got him to write his novel as he was cooped up at home. We got so many great books out of the COVID thing. We should do that again. Maybe not. The impetus of the story was that when his mother said to him the moment he was born, "Oh, how nice to see you again." Was that in the novel there, or was that for you, Michael?
That plays into the twist ending of my novel.
You got to read the book to find out. Tricky. See, he knows publishing industry marketing. Anyway, welcome to the show, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
There you go. We should probably add you grew up in a publishing author milieu. I flunked second grade. Your mother was an editor at the New York City publishing houses. That must have been fun.
Yeah, it was. This is back in the day. And in fact, I distinctly remember her sitting on weekends cross-legged on the couch, manuscript pages strewn about her red pen in hand, marking up all of those manuscript pages from the author. And, you think that would have prepared me for when I got my editor's input. Well, it wasn't in red pen anymore, but those comments in the margins of the Word document, well, they felt like they were in red pen.
They can hurt your feels.
At least I wasn't surprised.
They can hurt your feels a little bit, those editors.
You gotta have a thick skin, but it's all for the good.
Yeah. I ended up 75,000 words, and they just sent me back a page, and they went, "We threw away the rest. Why don't you just redo all of that?" Anyway, so give us your .coms. Where do you want people to find out more about you on the interweb, sir?
MichaelWendroff.com is where you can learn all about me. My thriller, What Goes Around, as you mentioned, it's my debut thriller. It was published actually a year ago in hardcover, and by a traditional publisher, Bloomsbury. And it sold out, but the paperback just launched this past week. It's also available in ebook and in audiobook. And I'm lucky in that my agent has sold foreign translation rights in Hungarian, which is this one. This is my version that was sold in the U.S., UK, and Australia. And it has also been foreign language rights sold in Italian and Japanese. So it's so far so good.
There you go. Well, that should be awesome. Give us 30,000 overview. What's inside your new book?
Well, it's a thriller, a real page turner, and it's about mysterious shootings that are going on in this town. These two detectives are paired together to investigate it. One is a guy, a big brawny guy, like a Jack Reacher type, and the other is a brainy and beautiful woman. And they hate each other based on things that happened in the police academy, though their relationship does evolve over time. Their journey, though, takes them into the mysterious secret worlds of these terrible hate groups like Boogaloo Boys and incels. There's a lot of twists and turns along the way, and that very ending with the major twist does harken back to what my mother said to me the second I was born, or so I'm told, which was mentioned, "Oh, how nice to see you again."
Again.
The again part. I always wanted to do something with that, and with COVID, I finally did do something with it, which is to write my book and use that as a twist.
There you go. Well, you know, there's an old saying, most men, once they leave the womb, are trying to always get back. So I'm trying to get back in it. Maybe somehow that happened. I don't know. Maybe time transport, teleportation. I don't know. You know, whatever. I know some. It's an interesting way. So is that how the book starts out? Is that line?
No, it does not. Okay. That is actually that comes into the very end of the book. The first line of the book is, "I'll remember the day I died for the rest of my life."
Wow. I'll remember the day I died for the rest of my life. That's interesting. So can you expand on that, or is that going to give away the novel a bit, maybe?
No, that goes hand in hand with the twist ending, so I'm not going to say too much about it.
I see what you've done here. You've given us some hooks and some tricks of the marketing trade to make us go, well, now we're going to have to find out, damn it.
Actually, you know, with the hooks, I mean, the way I write my books are to provide real hooks because, you know, my style is very short chapters, which I do, you know, I do that because I think, you know, it makes the readers feel like they're progressing and makes the story move very quickly. And I like to end each of those short chapters with a hook. And that could be a physical hook, or it could be a emotional hook, or a psychological hook. And then with that, the first sentence of the very next chapter, I usually try and start it with a very intriguing sentence, which is, you know, it's why so many of the reviews, which, you know, I'm lucky, they've been fantastic reviews. And they say, you know, we're up all night reading this thing because we couldn't stop. And I was lucky. J.D. Barker was a best-selling author, #1 best-selling author. He was nice enough to read the book for me. And he gave me this quote that's on the cover. And it wrote, "Relentless and gritty, Wendroff expertly weaves a narrative that begs just one more page." So
those are the best books. I do like shorter chapters, even though sometimes, you know, you can burn through those books in like a day or on a beach read. And then you're like, I wish I had more. But that's the beauty of, you know, setting up more. And some people go back and read them over and over again too. You go back and check out what you missed. But those page turners, you know, we've had some authors on the show like yourself who have those little hook lines that they open chapters with or the books with. And like, I remember one had, I know of one gentleman. Every book is, and when he comes on, he'll pull out some of the lines, or he'll let me read the first line of the book, and my hairs will stand on end.
That's what you want for sure. And you know, you mentioned, you know, reading it again, and you know, I don't think anyone's going to read my book a second time. Well, maybe my wife, but
they get pretty obsessive.
But if you actually did read it a second time, then you'd see all of the little hints that I put in along the way for that ending, which, you know, people have said it's mind-blowing. They said it's jaw-dropping. But if you had read it again, you'd see there were hints all along the way, little crumbs I put in there.
Little M. Night Shyamalan, maybe sort of production.
Also, yes, exactly. If you like the Sixth Sense movie, you'd Love
Really?
this book, What Goes Around. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was an amazing movie, and a lot of his movies too. I love movies where I've seen so many movies, and maybe I'm just good at this or something. I don't know, but I've seen so many movies where you go in and within 10 minutes you go, I can tell you this thing's gonna end. And M. Night Shyamalan's movie, and a lot of great movies where you never see the end coming. Like, what was that one movie, Seven? What's in the box, man? You don't see it coming. And
Right.
yeah. Oh, she's pregnant too? Oh, for hell's sakes. You're just sitting there just going. I remember that ending was so shocking. Me and my girlfriend got in the biggest breakup fight after, because we
Oh
were
my
just
God. Oh
the
no.
movie was just so rattling and disturbing, and then especially at the end. We eventually got back together, but yeah, it was you didn't leave that movie in a good you were like, gee, life is great. The good people win all the time.
Well, I hope
But
you don't break up after you read my book.
I won't read it with a girlfriend. There you go. So I don't know. Maybe I'll send it to the one I want to break up with me. And it's easier if you make the breakup
There you
their
go.
idea. I found. What, you want to leave? Okay, bye. Just testing you. No, I really want to make you happy. I really believe in making people happy. So you
You are
go.
bad.
You be
You are
happy.
bad.
I am anything I can do to get freedom. Yeah. I'm one of those people, as soon as you lock me down, I'm like, where's the door? Where's the exit? Anyway, so on your book, this is your debut novel. And do you think that maybe growing up in the presence of great authors, and your mother doing a lot of editorial, and, seeing that there was this business trade and this art of writing books, do you think that maybe helped influence you and get you down the pathway there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. In fact, my mother actually remarried a literary agent, and a literary agent is really the key intermediary between
Ah,
authors and publishers.
I see what she was up to there.
Publishers will not look at an author's manuscript unless it comes through a literary agent.
Yeah.
And literary agents have a lot of functions. First, a lot of literary agents will actually be your first editor, and they'll make suggestions before they'll even show it to a publisher.
Mm.
And then, literary agents will know just the right people, publishing firms, editors, to send your type of book. Like mine's a thriller, so the agents know who to send it to.
Ah,
There's a 3 martini lunch and all of that, so they know these editors pretty well.
only 3?
Back in the day, only 3, right? And then if you're lucky enough to get published, then your agent will obviously negotiate the terms of the deal and will handle the contracts and then review those with you. So my mother remarried an agent, and he actually had a lot of mystery and thriller authors.
Mm.
So I, grew up reading all of those books since they were free, and
Yeah.
and I kind of got to know, what I liked and what seemed to be selling. And in fact, there was this one author, Robert Ludlum, who a lot of people know these days from the Bourne Identity, Matt Damon movies.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
he was a best-selling author many, many times over. And I remember staying over at his winter home, where he went to the Caribbean, to St. Thomas for the winter. And we were there. And I remember getting up early one morning, tiptoeing into the living room, and he was sitting there on the couch with a yellow legal pad and a number 2 Dixon Ticonderoga pencil in hand. And he was writing his books. And that's how he wrote his 450-page novels, by hand. Now,
Wow.
I admired Ludlum's, plotting and his prose, but I was not going to write a novel by hand. Thankfully, when it came time to write What Goes Around, I had a PC.
There you go. We've had Brian Freeman on the show, who I think took over Robert's books,
Oh, that's right.
at least in
Yeah,
one case.
exactly. Yeah.
We have all the folks that come on from the Clancy division. I think we've had all the
Mhm.
Clancy authors except for the main.
Yeah, good stuff.
He won't return our calls when we send him an email, so evidently something happened to him. But yeah,
Yes.
the Robert Ludlum books, the Bourne
Mhm.
Identity, and all that sort of good stuff. It's crazy, all that stuff. In fact, I need to follow up, see what's going on, if we need to get another. Those guys are prolific, man. They pump out books like every 6 months, 3 to 6 months.
Well, the thing that's amazing about a lot of those guys is they continue to write after they're dead.
Yeah, that's why we always joke about how we've had everybody on the show except for Tom Clancy himself. And like, guess there's a reason for that. But God bless him, wherever he is. He's avoiding our calls, clearly. But I would too. But no, and all the guys who write Tom Clancy, they have their own series of books that they're writing for, right?
Yes.
And so they're just crazy. They're on the show like about every 3 months for their book, Tom Clancy books. I think there's another one coming up, but fun is fun. So was that where you first kind of got bitten by the mystery novel bug, or was there anyone else growing up that maybe had an influence on you?
Well, I mean, that was it. I mean, it was also interesting that, you talked about my experience writing my MBA on marketing and publishing. And, the incident you referred to was when I was interviewing publishing executives for that thesis. And I was waiting outside Michael Corda's office one day. He, at that point, was the editor-in-chief at Simon & Schuster.
Oh.
And, we had an appointment, and it's way past that appointment, and I'm waiting and waiting. And then finally the door opens up and he says, "Come on over here. I want you to meet someone." And of course, the guy that was in his office was Truman Capote, who looked exactly like you'd think, with a big hat, the white suit, the pink shirt, the whole 9 yards. So, meeting like one of the all-time best thriller writers in cold blood, that was pretty cool. So that, just continued to reinforce what I wanted to do. I did go into business, into marketing for many years. And then, as you mentioned, it was really the pandemic where, I hadn't, you couldn't do anything else. In my town, you couldn't even go to the beach. I couldn't play tennis, nothing. So I was out of excuses for not writing the novel I always wanted to do. And I got lucky, and it became what goes around. But, a lot of people ask me, what's your writing process like? So once I finally got to it, I mean, my process is really 3 parts to it. The first part is the thinking part, trying to figure out what the plot is, what the subplot is. And, there are actually 2 types of writers. One is called a pantser. And that type of writer literally writes by the seat of his or her pants. So they don't know where the story is going. They just sit down at the PC, and wherever it goes, it goes. And, it's amazing. There's, a lot of bestsellers come out of that type of writing, but that's not me. I'm what's called a plotter. So I need to have a detailed outline of what's going to happen in my book, where I'm going to put those red herrings, where, where's the subplot, where are all the twists along the way, and of course, where the major twist ending is going to be. But, it's not like that doesn't change. It could evolve. I mean, there was one time when, I fell in love with one of my characters, and I tell you, these characters, they talk to you, and am I crazy? Well, maybe a little, but
aren't we
there
all?
was one. Yeah, there was one character though that I really liked. My plot called for him to be killed off, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't kill him off, so had to change the plot. But in fact, there was another time when same kind of deal where I really liked this character, really good buddy, got nice guy, and then had to kill him off. And I listened to my plot outline, and I killed him off. And I tell you, the whole next week, my wife's yelling at me, "Why are you so depressed? He's not real." But to an author, these characters they're real.
Yeah,
They are real.
I'm really jealous because the only people who talk to me are people. My schizophrenia kicks in when I take my whatever that is. I can't pull the rest of that joke, evidently, on the reference point of the drug. The Lortab. No, it's not Lortab. It's lithium. Yeah, whenever my lithium runs out.
There you go.
I got that joke around to it. There you go.
So that's, the first part of my writing. Then the second part of my writing is actually doing the research. And, these days I'm writing my second book, and there's ChatGPT, which for research I find to be so much more efficient than Googling. I mean, you do have to be careful, but, using AI for research saves so much time. I don't have to Google something 30 times and figure out what's the right stuff. I tell you though, I mean, the best type of research I believe an author should do is really, talking to the type of people who are going to be in your novel. So for me, I was lucky enough, I got to talk to FBI agents. I got to talk to chiefs of police. I got to talk to detectives. And, importantly, I spoke to a female detective since, I have a lead as a female detective in my story. And she was great. She gave me all of these insights and anecdotes, which made their way into the book. It was great. So, talking to the people who are going to be in your book is key. Now, I don't think I spoke to any serial killers.
Well, you don't think, but we have to find out. And I imagine, we've kind of talked about the, what was it? Good to see you again. And I remember the last time I died or something to that effect, I think was the line. Was that? But the title of your book is called What Goes Around.
Yes.
Can you expand on that some more? Or I don't want to give away the book, of course.
Well, I mean, at its heart, the book is really about love, loss, and the unbreakable bonds that transcend time. So, there could be perhaps people that in this lifetime that you had a bond with in a prior lifetime. I know my mother believed that, and that's why she said, "How nice to see you again," because she thought we had a relationship in a past life. Do I believe that? I don't know. Maybe, but I'm keeping an open mind. And wouldn't it be nice to know that you'll see a loved one and interact with them on this earth again in the future?
Yeah,
I mean,
I just want to make sure that we knew that we were related, and we know whether we're we have that cousins thing in case there's any romance that takes place. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't want to do that.
Right.
Wait,
exactly.
Were you my sister in a previous life? Oh, this is bad. This is not gonna. This is
Sounds like you're heading for another breakup.
Yeah, this sounds like fun. That's what happens when you live in Alabama. I'm just kidding, folks. It's Arkansas. Anyway, it's always good to pull deliverance jokes. Those are my favorite. You got to put them out, boy. Anyway, does any of the characters say that in the book? No, I'm just kidding. You got a purty mouth, boy. Again. Deliverance 2. There you go. So what do you see going on with the book? Do you see this maybe as a series, much like the other series, Tom Clancy and we talked about?
Yeah, I do. Because of the great reviews and the really great sales on the hardcover, etc. My publisher has given me a contract for another book, which I'm writing right now. And series in terms of it does include the two main characters from the first book. And, publishers like when you do series because you have a little bit of a built-in audience from your first book if the readers liked it. And, they got to like the characters, so they're coming back and your style and all of that. And also, from the marketing hat, in a lot of ways, you're building your brand. So your readers, consumers will come to expect a certain thing from your book. So they'll expect them to be thrillers. They'll expect them to have certain elements. So, that's why I feel it's important to do what I've done now with the second book that's in progress.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And so that you're bringing the character back then?
Yeah. Two main characters are back.
Do you see this as a, lifelong sort of run of characters and books and all that sort of stuff?
So that I'm not sure yet. I mean, I'll always write, page-turning thrillers, but I don't know if I'll always have these characters. That's still TBD. Depends on what they say to me, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. You got to keep smacking them out of the park. Otherwise, they go, hey, man.
That
last book didn't sell well. Is there
You're gone.
You probably know that from your experiences with whatchamacallit there, maybe. Your mom.
Yeah.
She's like, this guy, we're not giving him a contract again.
No, you got to keep proving yourself in publishing. And, it's also interesting that, what I learned in publishing today is that, being an author is very different than being an author years ago. Today, even with, a big publisher like I have, you're really half the time you're expected to be writing and half the time you're expecting to be out there promoting your book. So, you got to do things like get on great podcasts like your show. And you got to, get out there, bookstores, book signings, all social media. I mean, you really got to put the effort in these days being an author. It's very different from years ago.
There you go. So any final thoughts as we go out? Any more tease outs you want to tell people about the book to get them to pick it up?
Well, I would just say that, for any in your audience that are aspiring authors, that, what they should do is start, getting your social media going in a more expanded way based on what I just said. Um, B, if you're writing, write every day. I try and do that, even if it's 10 minutes, because if I take 2 weeks off, it's like the whole rhythm and flow is gone. It's, you lose it all. But, even more important is learn your craft. I mean, there's a real craft to writing, and there's a lot of different ways you can learn your craft. For example, you can learn it online. I mean, there's courses. I took a couple from, I think it was BBC Maestro, that, one was Lee Child on writing, the other one was Harlan Cobain on writing. And, they don't always give you the same exact advice, but that's good. Pick what will work for you. And also, go to conferences. Like for me as a thriller writer, I go to Thriller Fest, which is the big annual conference in New York City. And, there's all sorts of seminars at these conferences on different aspects of writing. So really important to learn your craft and to keep at it. If you have local writers groups, you can get together for feedback. That's great. But if you want to to be a decent writer, work on that craft. And then, the last thing I would say is that remember, what goes around comes around. So be nice.
Yeah, be nice to people. You just never know where one thing or another is going to happen. And you never know, there's always somebody who might refer somebody, and they're like, yeah, well, this isn't for me, but I can refer it to somebody who might be interested in what you're doing. So
good point. That's
there
right.
you go. Yeah, you never know. It's all networking, kind of. So there you go. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. Give us your .coms one last time as we go.
MichaelWendroff.com.
There you go. Well, thank you, Michael, for coming on the show. And we're excited to see the next book coming out. So please come back for that, sir.
Sure thing. Thank you. It's been fun.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Thanks, Manis, for coming in the show. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.